Today, we're diving deep into the shocking predictions for the Egghead Arc's finale. Remember that crisis the Straw Hat crew faced in Chapter 1078? We're touching on that too, so don't miss out. I'll be sharing my thoughts on the Egghead Arc's conclusion and the latest moves of our beloved Straw Hats. Got thoughts? Drop a comment. And hey, like and subscribe would be awesome. Just a heads up, this video might have some spoilers from the recent chapters. So, spoiler alert. Alright, let's jump right in. First off, let's talk about the revelations from Chapter 1078 of the manga. The latest episode brought some major twists to the Egghead Arc. Dr. Vegapunk has snitched to the world government about taking over O'Hara's research, right? And the identity of the traitor who had been controlling the Seraphim finally came to light. The person who betrayed Dr. Vegapunk and acted in secret was none other than Pangsix York. In Chapter 1075, York, who was petrified by his snake's love fruit ability, seemed to have been merely pretending. Crazy, right? After S-Snake released York from petrification, he headed to the old Devil Fruit Research Lab where Stella, Dr. Vegapunk's core, is being held. And it turns out, York was the one who shot Punk 1 Shaka in the head last time. That creepy grin when York was revealed as the traitor sure sent shivers down the spine, didn't it? Most of the mysterious events in the Egghead Arc were probably York's doing. In the Egghead Arc, a turbulent development was waiting, wasn't it? Appearance of the Five Elders and Admiral Kizaru, collaboration between the Straw Hat Pirates and CP0, Stissy's betrayal. All of this was due to York's betrayal. And in the latest episode, an astonishing truth was revealed. It turns out that everything depicted since the start of the Egghead Arc was merely the eve of the Egghead incident. And it was explicitly stated that the conclusion of the incident to be met the next day would shock the world beyond belief. The story has already been shocking enough, but it seems it was just the prologue to a historic major incident. If the next day brings a historic event called the Egghead Incident, it seems safe to assume that there is no way for the Straw Hat Pirates to escape Egghead without fighting the Navy. Also, at the beginning of the latest episode, Stussy explained that the world government takes this incident more seriously than O'Hara. There are two reasons for this. First, Dr. Vegapunk has taken O'Hara's research even further, and Egghead has combat power that can compete with the world government, unlike O'Hara. Normally, a buster call involves 10 battleships, but at least over 100 battleships are being sent to Egghead. When considering the result brought by a military force far exceeding a buster call, it seems likely that this episode will eventually lead to the annihilation of Egghead. In episode 1078, it was explicitly stated that the conclusion of the incident that happens the next day will give the world an unexpected shock. From here on, I'd like to predict what conclusion the Egghead Arc will reach. A hint for thinking about this may be the Sabaody Archipelago Arc. In One Piece, self-homage is sometimes used. Recently, the Wano Country Arc being in homage to the Alabasta Arc also became a topic of discussion. Since the latest episodes often link with past episodes in terms of direction, it becomes easier to predict the next development if you identify the source of homage. Looking back at the past episodes, I noticed that the Egghead Arc has many similarities with the Sabaody Archipelago Arc. For example, there's a match in the element of Admiral Kizaru approaching. Kizaru's first appearance was in the Sabaody Archipelago Arc. Back then, the Straw Hat Pirates' strength was not yet enough to match an admiral, so they attempted to escape from Kizaru. Speaking of first appearances, Sentomaru and Pacifista also first appeared in the Sabaody Archipelago Arc. Come to think of it, the connection between Jewelry Bonnie and the Straw Hat crew started from the Sabaody Archipelago. Indeed, the Egghead Arc and the Sabaody Archipelago Arc have many common characters. In the Sabaody Archipelago Arc, Pacifista was introduced as a new weapon of the Navy. And in the Egghead Arc, the upgraded new model Pacifista Seraphim is wreaking havoc as a new weapon. In both series, Pacifista plays a key role in the outcome, so they are quite similar. What's more indispensable in discussing these two series is the presence of Bartholomew Kuma. In the Sabaody Archipelago Arc, Bartholomew Kuma, thought to be an enemy, somehow let the Straw Hat crew escape. Without him, the Straw Hat crew would have been annihilated at that point. In the Egghead Arc, Bartholomew Kuma's secret is finally about to be revealed. Why did he help the Straw Hat crew? What's the reason behind Bartholomew Kuma becoming a pacifista? The foreshadowing related to Bartholomew Kuma in the Sabaody Archipelago Arc is finally being addressed, including the finer details. There seem to be many similarities between the Sabaody Archipelago arc and the Egghead arc. The probability is quite high that Mr. Oda is linking the events of the Sabaody Archipelago arc to the current Egghead arc. If so, Mr. Oda may make the conclusion of the story similar as well. The last part of the Egghead arc may end up being the dispersion of the Straw Hat crew, just like in the Sabaody Archipelago arc. First, let's briefly review how the Sabaody Archipelago arc ended. Luffy punching the Celestial Dragon became the trigger, resulting in the deployment of Admiral Kizaru, Sentomaru, and the pacifistas on the Sabaody Archipelago. The Straw Hat crew, who had a hard time defeating just one pacifista back then, couldn't overcome this power difference even with Rayleigh's help. During the battle, Bartholomew Kuma, who still had his consciousness, appeared. The Straw Hat crew was scattered around the world by the power of the Pop-Off Root, finally resulting in a complete collapse. And it took about 2 years for the Straw Hat crew to regroup. If the Egghead arc is in homage to the Sabaody Archipelago arc, the Straw Hat crew may be scattered once again. Although the Straw Hat crew has become incomparably stronger, the Navy's strength is on a whole different level compared to the time of the Sabaody Archipelago arc. I think it's unlikely that the current Straw Hat crew will lose to the Navy, but it is conceivable that they may become separated while escaping from such a large fleet. There may also be a plan to disperse in different directions to divide the enemy's forces. In the latest chapter, there was a narration that the outcome of the incident that occurs the next day will give the world an unexpected shock. Doesn't it seem related to the prophecy at the end of the Dressrosa arc about the historical grand incident of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet? The scattering of the Straw Hat crew at this timing might be for the purpose of regrouping with the Straw Hat Grand Fleet scattered around. Just like the Whitebeard Pirates executives led their subordinates as captains, maybe it's time for the Straw Hat crew to operate in separate squads, just as it was during the Sabaody Archipelago arc. The scattering of the Straw Hat crew here is a kind of power-up event. The Straw Hat crew, now serving as great executives of the 4 emperors, each of them leads the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, finally creating a historical grand incident. Also, in the latest chapter, there was a narration that the Navy's deployment was already showing signs of a war. During the time of the Sabaody Archipelago, the Summit War arc began after Impel Down. If this incident is in homage, then the next arc could be the World War arc. That's it for today. Looking back like this, there are indeed many similarities between the Egghead arc and the Sabaody Archipelago arc. Back then, the Straw Hat crew was completely overwhelmed by Kizaru and the pacifistas and ended up in complete collapse. Whether they can achieve revenge in the conclusion of the Egghead arc or end up in complete collapse again, the development is eagerly awaited. This channel posts summaries, explanations, and ranking videos related to One Piece. If you like One Piece, we would be happy if you could support us by subscribing to our channel and commenting. Thank you for watching till the end. See you in the next video.